Hi, I'm Dr. Matt. This video is gross. Like, it's very graphic. It's really gross. Like, it's gross. So if you don't like gross stuff, you should not watch this video. We have other videos that aren't so gross, but this one's gross. But it's real. So you guys who are interested in veterinary medicine are really gonna like this because this is as real as it gets. It's a good video, but it's gross. Just, that's your warning. You've been warned. Bye. Welcome to Vet Ranch. I'm Dr. Matt, and this little puppy is named Debarko. He is a family friend's dog who was just, he actually got into the neighbor's fence and was torn up pretty bad by the neighbor's dog. We haven't really checked out the extent of his injuries. He's normally a very clean little dog, but he must have got rolled by the neighbor dog pretty bad because he's covered in mud and all bloody down there. So he's really painful when I mess around down there, so we're gonna anesthetize him first and then start just cleaning and figure out where this blood is coming from, because there's a lot of blood down there. He also has a little cut up on his front leg, which I'm not too concerned about, but gonna get him knocked out first, make sure no bones are broken, and then go figure out what's going on all down here. Since we can't see what's going on over here, we're gonna hose him down first, but you can just see there's just blood all over the back here, so we don't really know where these wounds are, and it's just covered in grass and dirt and whatever else he was rolling in when he was getting beat up. Very bloody smelling. There's something there, it looks like.
Oh, he's got some holes there.
Yep. Puncture.
Abrasions.
All the blood coming out.
Bruising.
Yeah, he's gonna be very painful. Just bruises everywhere.
His little tail is all bruised.
Yep.
All back here.
Just cleaned all the blood and a lot of the mud out. You can see just all red and swollen. All these muscles on his back end are, and all the skin is all bruised. He is going to be in a lot of pain for the next few days, but it looks like pretty much minor lacerations, at least superficially. There may be deeper stuff, you know, under it, but we're going to now dry him off and then start shaving so we can get an even better look at all this stuff. That's so bruised. So far when we're shaving, we're really just seeing a lot of puncture wounds, which we're not going to suture up. You leave those open because those teeth go down in there and sink down in and bring bacteria in there, and they also rip up the muscles below, and they need to stay open to drain. So if we find any big wounds, we'll suture them up, but all these punctures we're just going to leave open so he can heal on his own and drain some of that bacteria out of them over the next few days. You can see everything's just bright red and purple and bruised back here. Probably 10 puncture wounds just on this thigh here. And then there's a lot more on the inside and a lot more on the other leg. Yeah, that one might need some stitches. There's some pretty good holes down there. This side's definitely going to need a few sutures. There are some bigger holes over here. All messed up. We have the hair trimmed and we got most of the stuff cleaned up. You can just see there are just holes every inch. Some of these are pretty big, and I'm just gonna kind of flush them out. You can see they all connect. That is not good. This dog likely won't all these connect. You can see when I put this saline in here, these others all start leaking too. I'm just gonna keep flushing all these wounds. Try to knock as much of the debris out as I can. Jeez. When I flush in here, you can see the skin pop up and all of these start leaking. This skin is all separated from the tissue under it, so there's a pretty good chance that a lot of this skin will die and slough. Same story on all these wounds. They're all just connected, and skin is really compromised. So I'm probably not going to put too many sutures in here at all. Just going to leave it all to just continue draining like this, hoping that the skin will reattach down and will get blood supply back. But there's just a ton of damage here. There's some big wounds down here right behind his penis. There's dirt and debris in them. I'm picking that out, and I'm going to suture a couple of them closed, or at least half closed, just because the wounds are so big. But I can't close everything because it really needs to drain. Look at that big leaf that's in there. Hair and leaves. He just is a wreck. Sutured a few of the big ones halfway closed down here. Another couple big ones halfway closed up here. All these small ones we're just going to leave open. None of these wounds on this side are very big, so I don't think I'm going to suture any closed, but I am just going to flush them all with a bunch of saline just to get all the junk out of them. Same thing on this side though. They all kind of connect. It's just all swollen under all this skin due to all the trauma. All done with Debarko now. We have all these wounds flushed. I have pain meds, antibiotics, and anti-inflammatories on board. So we're gonna go ahead and wake him up now. He is not out of the woods yet. He has a long road of recovery ahead of him. A lot of this skin has a high chance of sloughing off, just dying because it lost contact with blood supply, I would imagine, just because of how inflamed it is. So there's a good chance he might lose some of this skin back here, and then we'll see if we can help him out at that point. But hopefully he won't. And we'll just keep the antibiotics in him because he is going to be fighting off some nasty bacteria from back here, and we don't want it to be too infected. There's no way to keep it clean, but we'll try our best to keep antibiotics in there to keep the infection down. And yeah, long road ahead of him, but we're going to do everything we can. We have Debarko back in. It's been one day, and he went home last night and drank some water. He hasn't really been interested in food. He's not walking around, which is not surprising, but he's not febrile. He's doing really well, it seems like, for the massive extent of his injuries. So we're just going to keep giving him nursing care. His owners will at home, and hopefully he'll continue to improve. It's been 6 days since we first got Debarko in, and as you can see, he has a big black spot. This is dead skin, and I'm about to anesthetize him so we can go trim this up and start getting this wound to contract down. And it looks a lot worse when he's flipped over. He's got a big hole underneath too. But the good news is he is walking around, his owner said. He can get up and walk around now. He's eating. He seems to be feeling fairly good considering that. So it looks like he's going to pull through. We just need to start shrinking the giant wound that we have in the back. So here's what we got. You can see this black dead skin is separating from the pink live skin. A lot of pus in there. And here's a really bad spot too. All open up down here. And it smells terrible. It's stunk up the entire back of our clinic here because it's just rotting skin. So my plan is to basically try to shrink this wound today. There's no way I'm going to be able to close this whole hole, but I'm going to take out as much of the dead tissue as I can and just start shrinking it. So here's where some skin died and it already sloughed off, and you can see there's just a bunch of rotten tissue down there. I am just picking out all this yellow tissue. This is all just dead tissue, and I'm getting down to the red, bloody healthy tissue. So here's how I'm going to leave it. You can see I sutured in both sides, so we've probably decreased the total size of that by about 50%. I'm going to leave this like this for another few days, and then we'll come back and probably try to close it up the rest of the way. But there's just not enough skin right here to close it all the way. Plus, there's so much junk in there, we really need it to drain. Now we're going to roll them over and start working on this. This is all just dead skin. I'm just going to start peeling it off, and you can see all that pus underneath it. That's why he stinks so bad. He's just holding all of this nasty stuff in here under all his dead skin. Oy. So underneath all of this dead skin is more dead tissue. So we're gonna really have to dissect out a lot of stuff to get all down to healthy tissue. That is not good, and it smells really not good. I don't get grossed out very much. Like, I do a lot of nasty stuff, but this is grossing me out. Just all rotten, and the smell is so bad. This is really gross. Just pulling out tons of dead tissue here, trying to unhook all this dead skin. And you can see there's no bleeding there. We didn't cut anything live. That's just a big hunk of dead junk. Removed all the big chunks. You can see there's still a lot of rotten stuff left, and it goes a lot deeper than I had imagined. So not good. Those puncture wounds with dog bites will go really deep and just drag that bacteria down and really tear up that tissue. They'll rip that tissue. We have bone right here on his pelvis sticking out. So I'm gonna just keep cleaning what I can and then start pinching it in a little bit just to pull that skin in, make the wound a little bit smaller. But he's in pretty rough shape right now. Done with surgery part of this, and so let me show you what I did here. I cleaned up the edges here and I started suturing that. There's a line of sutures there, and I did another one right here. And so I'll tie a string across the bandage to all these little hooks that I made around the edges of it. That'll do two things. It'll hold the bandage, it'll also start pulling this wound together and hopefully getting it to get a little bit smaller every day. And we'll have to just change this bandage every day now. Just lost a lot of his gluteal muscle here. I'm just packing this wound now with some gauze that is soaked in saline, so it's wet. And what it'll do, tomorrow we'll come open this wound back up, and it will, as we pull it out, it'll peel out a lot of the dead stuff. And this kind of stimulates granulation tissue to start growing in, which is new healthy tissue. And we'll probably need to do this every day for a while until we get a nice bed of granulation tissue that we can leave open. Here's what we're left with. Got the bandage all on there, so we'll get him back in tomorrow and we will take it all off, see what we got, and probably do the same thing again. It's the next day, so we're unwrapping Debarko's dressing. Let's see what all this looks like. It does still stink, but it hasn't stunk up our entire clinic like it did yesterday, so that's a good sign. We're knocking some of that nasty bacteria down slowly but surely. So the cool thing about wet to dry bandages is as you peel them off, you can see it was all white yesterday, now it's kind of all brown. It's soaking up all that nastiness. But as you peel them off, it takes the top layer of this dead tissue with it. Yeah, still a mess down there. So now I'm just going to be picking all this dead stuff out. But giving it an extra day made it a lot easier for this stuff to come out. And you can see we have some blood down at the edges here. That means we finally got down to some live tissue. Flushing the rest of this wound now. You can see it looks a lot better than it did yesterday. This one down here as well. And we just flush them to remove a little extra rotten tissue and bacteria. Debarko is back today. It's been 2 days since you saw him. We rewrapped his thing yesterday as well, and it's looking better every day. So we're going to go ahead and open it up and see what it looks like today. His owner did say he didn't eat as much yesterday as he has been eating, so that's kind of concerning, but not too unusual. We've lost a little bit more tissue down here, but you can see it's got nice granulation tissue coming in the middle. This is looking a lot better as well. Still lots of nastiness, but look at all that blood now. We have good granulation tissue forming, and we have muscle starting to fill back in. So this is the best this wound has looked yet. I got all the nasty dead stuff out, but now that all the dead stuff is gone, you can kind of see the extent of the wound. This white thing, that's his hip bone sticking out. So all that muscle that usually is up here covering it is totally rotted away and gone, and we have that bone sticking out. So that's going to be a bit of a problem, but we'll try to grow that tissue right back over it. Now that we have all this healthy tissue, I don't really want to remove any more tissue because we like all this tissue. So I'm going to start packing it with sugar and some dressing that's not going to pull off the top of it. It's just going to help grow more tissue here. Have his back all wrapped up, and now I'm going to work right here. You can see some of these sutures have totally ripped through because we hooked them to dying skin, but now the skin is fairly healthy, so I'm going to take these out and redo this, so hopefully we can kind of close this wound up a little bit. I sutured up right here, I sutured up a little bit here, this one was pretty messed up, and then I just packed this with sugar and some gauze and ran a couple pieces of suture over it just to start stretching out this skin, so hopefully we can get it to close. This still may come back open again, but we'll hopefully make a little headway with it in the meantime. So we'll get him back in tomorrow and redo everything. We have Debarko back today, and check out these wounds, they're looking a lot better. It has been 2.5 weeks since he first got attacked by that dog, and man, that is really looking good. All filling in with granulation tissue, and this wound is shrinking itself down. I'm just flushing it. We've been flushing it every couple of days now. Go ahead and stand him up. This one over here on his back is looking good as well, except for that bone still sticking out, but you can see this wound is contracting down, and sorry Mallory, we're just flushing it to keep the granulation tissue growing, keep all the debris out, but everything's going well. It's been almost a month. I can't talk. It's been almost a month since we first saw Debarko, and he is healing up so well. Look at this thing. His hip bone is right there, almost covered up completely by the granulation tissue, and this wound is just contracting down and shrinking. And this one under here is completely healed. Isn't that amazing? It has been 5, almost 6 weeks, and his hair is starting to grow back. It's growing back brown because of the scarring. But look how good this guy looks. His hip bone is totally covered up now. He just has this small little open area. The wound is all contracting down really well. This wound underneath is 100% healed up. Dog's coming around just awesome. He's eating well, he's acting well, he's pretty much back to his normal self, and everything's going well. So we'll give you an update in another few weeks. We are here checking up on Debarko. He is all healed up. Come here, with just very minor scars left over. Come here, buddy boy. Let me see if he'll hold still here. That is the worst of it right there. He has a little patch with no hair, a little less muscle there, but it's totally all healed up, and he has no issues. As you can see, he runs, he jumps, he acts like a totally normal dog. Good boy, good boy. So thanks for watching, thanks for supporting Vet Ranch and what we do. This guy, he was all funded by his owners. He has a loving home already, so don't be emailing me wanting to adopt Debarko. He has a good place, and we're just happy that he did so well, because he was pretty bad in the beginning, and I've seen a lot of dogs that get big wounds like that, and they don't heal up nearly as well as Debarko. So he's a lucky boy. Thanks for watching Vet Ranch. We will see you next time.